Have you ever wondered why the Titanic, even as a historic icon, still remains at the bottom of the ocean? Today, we're going to explore the scientific and historical reasons that make it impossible to remove this giant of the seas. But before we dive into this mystery, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our fascinating videos. Now, let's uncover what truly keeps the Titanic at the bottom of the sea. The Titanic, a masterpiece of naval engineering, stood out as the most luxurious and grandest ship of its time. With an incredible length of 270 meters and a height comparable to a 25-story building, this colossal vessel weighed an astonishing 46,000 tons. It was designed to offer unparalleled comfort, especially for first-class passengers, who enjoyed luxurious cabins, a fine dining restaurant, a gymnasium, a swimming pool, and even a Turkish bath on board. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic departed from the port of Southampton, England, bound for New York City on what was to be its maiden voyage. On board were approximately 2,200 people, including some of the wealthiest individuals of the era and hundreds of emigrants seeking a new life in the United States. The ship, deemed unsinkable by its builders, represented the pinnacle of technology and luxury of the time. However, the dream turned into tragedy just 4 days after departure. On the night of April 14, the Titanic collided with an iceberg in the North Atlantic. The impact caused irreparable damage to the ship's hull, and within a few hours, the vessel sank, claiming the lives of over 1,500 people. Only about 700 survived, many of them from first class. Due to the insufficient number of lifeboats and the chaotic nature of the rescue operation, the Titanic disaster became a historical milestone, not only for the immense loss of life but also for highlighting flaws in maritime safety, which led to the establishment of new regulations to protect passengers and crew. Even more than a century later, its story continues to captivate and serves as a reminder of humanity's limitations in the face of nature. For decades, the whereabouts of the Titanic's wreckage remained a mystery, hidden in the depths of the North Atlantic. It was only in 1985 that the shipwreck was finally discovered, thanks to an innovative expedition led by oceanographer Robert Ballard. Using cutting-edge technology for the time, Ballard conducted tests with robotic submarines specially designed to explore the ocean floor and locate lost vessels. The expedition took place in September of that year and resulted in a historic discovery. The Titanic was located at a depth of 3,800 meters, divided into two main large sections. The bow, one of the most preserved parts, showed severe damage on the starboard side, confirming the overwhelming force of the impact with the iceberg that sealed the ship's fate in 1912. The stern, on the other hand, was in a much more fragmented state, scattered over a wide area due to the violent way it sank. In addition to the two main sections, researchers also identified a vast field of debris between the ship's parts, containing personal items, structural pieces, and fragments of furniture. This discovery not only provided answers about the shipwreck but also opened new paths for underwater exploration, becoming a milestone in maritime archaeology. The location of the Titanic revealed the magnitude of the disaster and helped preserve its history, even in the depths of the ocean. The delicate structure of the Titanic and the immense pressures at the depths of the ocean led to the decision to abandon the idea of a complete recovery attempt of the ship. The most successful operation occurred in 1998, when a 20-ton section of the hull was removed from the seabed. During this mission, around 5,000 valuable items, including jewelry and toys, were recovered, providing a unique insight into life aboard the ship before its tragic sinking. Despite the success of this operation, the hostile environment at the bottom of the ocean presents formidable challenges. The saltwater, combined with the presence of microorganisms, has accelerated the Titanic's degradation over the years. These factors make any attempt to remove the ship extremely risky, as the likelihood of causing further damage to the vessel's structure would be very high. Additionally, the immense pressure of the water at the depths of the Atlantic makes any operation at the site not only difficult but practically unfeasible without causing irreparable damage to the historic ship. The Titanic, resting about 3,800 meters deep, has been the target of various scientific and archaeological expeditions over the past decades. In addition to missions to recover items, there are also efforts for mapping and studying the conditions of the ship to better understand its deterioration over time. However, due to the complexity of the marine environment and the constant risk of further compromising the Titanic's integrity, the responsible authorities and researchers are cautious about new interventions. Over the years, the Titanic has become a symbol of tragedy and mystery, and its ruins continue to attract the attention of scientists, historians, and explorers. However, the decision not to attempt to remove it completely is, in fact, a measure of preservation and respect for history, as the ship, even in its deteriorated state, remains a testament to the golden age of ocean liners and the disaster that led to the loss of over 1,500 lives. In 2016, an alarming discovery was made by scientists investigating the conditions of the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean. They identified the presence of extremophiles, organisms that thrive in extremely hostile environments, such as those found in the ocean depths. These microorganisms, by feeding on the remains of the ship, significantly accelerate the process of degradation of the Titanic, which led to grim predictions about the future of the vessel. Based on the observed rates of deterioration, it was estimated that by 2030, the ship could be completely dissolved, reduced to an unrecognizable mass of metal and debris. This new finding sparked an intense debate among scientists, historians, and authorities responsible for preserving the site. The question that arose was what to do with the wreck of the iconic ocean liner. On one hand, discussions emerged about the importance of preserving the artifacts and objects recovered from the Titanic as a way to keep alive the memory of one of the greatest maritime disasters in history. Many argue that these items, which include jewelry, utensils, and even toys found during expeditions, are key pieces in understanding life aboard the ship and the impact of the tragedy. On the other hand, there are those who believe the Titanic should be treated with the utmost respect, as a sacred tomb for the more than 1,500 victims who lost their lives in the fateful sinking of 1912. For these advocates, the idea of removing more artifacts or conducting any kind of intervention at the site could be seen as a violation of the final resting place of the deceased. Furthermore, the Titanic is not just a ship, but a symbol of human suffering and the fragility of life, making it important to preserve its memory in a respectful manner. With the advancement of submarine exploration technology, expeditions to the site have become more frequent and sophisticated, allowing scientists to map the ship's damage more accurately and better understand the biological and chemical processes involved in its degradation. However, the complexity of the situation and the ethical dilemmas remain a challenge, as any intervention could further deteriorate the ship and raise moral questions about preserving such a symbolic site. Amidst this scenario, the future of the Titanic and its memory remains uncertain. On one hand, preserving the artifacts could keep the history alive, but on the other hand, respecting the dignity of the victims imposes limits on any attempts at intervention. The Titanic remains at the bottom of the ocean, an eternal reminder of a tragedy that marked the beginning of the 20th century, as its ruins slowly transform into part of the sea itself, fading away over time. The issue of recovering more parts of the Titanic divides opinions. On one hand, there are those who argue that the ship, a symbol of a historic tragedy, should be preserved in its current state as a memorial for the 1,500 lives that were tragically lost in the disaster. For these people, any human intervention at the site could be seen as a disrespect to the deceased and their suffering. On the other hand, there are those who believe that recovering more parts of the Titanic could bring to light important information about the accident, which could contribute to advancements in science, history, and even naval engineering. These advocates argue that the sunken ship still holds many secrets. And by retrieving artifacts, it would be possible to better understand the circumstances that led to the catastrophe. There are private expeditions that explore the site, offering interested parties the opportunity to see the Titanic wreckage up close. However, this experience comes at a high price, with costs around $100,000 per participant. Additionally, the conditions at the site represent a significant logistical challenge, as the Titanic rests about 4,000 meters deep in the Atlantic Ocean, making the expeditions extremely difficult and risky. The underwater tourism industry has grown in recent years, and many wealthy tourists have ventured to visit the wreck site. However, it is important to remember that the seabed, where the Titanic is located, is considered a tomb for the victims of the disaster. Therefore, the ethics of exploring and recovering objects remains a controversial issue, raising questions about how far science and tourism should go in relation to something so sensitive and historical. And you, what is your opinion on the matter? Do you think it would be appropriate to seek more parts of the ship, or should the site be maintained as a sacred memorial, preserving the memory of the victims in an untouched way? The debate continues, and each perspective brings up complex issues of respect, science, and exploration. And these are the main reasons why the Titanic remains at the bottom of the ocean, preserving its history and mysteries. What did you think? Share your opinion in the comments. We'd love to know your thoughts on this fascinating topic. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to keep exploring amazing topics like this. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.